Hey there, everybody. We are back on Speed Gaming here with another Ori match. I'm Sigma, and I am joined today on commentary by Grim. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was just kind of enjoying. You have like a really good commentating voice, so I'm just gonna sit this one out. You can, cover it. I'll just enjoy.
We'll just listen to me ramble about nothing for the next hour. Seems good to me.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be looking at a matchup between EloJimmini and Kirefel here. What do you know about these guys?
Well, the first thing to point out in terms of the fact that this thing is a race, EloJimmini's PB is substantially faster than Kirefel's PB and most everyone else's. EloJimmini is currently third place in the world, I think only 10 seconds behind Hydra. At, what's his PB? I think 32... 12, I want to say is
32-12 for Jiminy. It's really good time. He's going to be going for a sub 32 very soon, I think.
Right. So in terms of what we would expect out of this race, EloJimmini versus almost anyone, you would probably put it in favor of EloJimmini, and that is true for this race. Kirefel sitting at a PB of 40.28, so EloJimmini is roughly 8 minutes faster. I think his PB listed on the sheet there might not be accurate anymore. As always, this is Ori. You can take deaths, nerves can get you, so we'll see what happens. But going into this, we would expect EloJimmini to advance.
Yeah, it would be a huge upset if Kirefel was able to, take him out here. But that said, EloJimmini does go for some risky strats, so there's potential for large time loss later, but I would be shocked if he doesn't have just a huge lead from the early game, basically. We'll be getting this one underway pretty soon, I think.
Mm-hmm. The other really interesting thing about this matchup is that this is the second time these guys have faced each other, kind of by the ways that tournament rankings and seeding works. EloJimmini and Kirefel actually faced each other in their final group match as well, so this is a rematch, I suppose.
Yeah, that one went as you might expect. EloJimmini won that match, and just because I think this is the only rematch within the same group that actually ended up happening, which is kind of surprising. There wasn't more. But yeah, so this is a rematch of one of the last matches in the group stage. We've got the race underway now, and we'll just be getting the timers synced up shortly as EloJimmini is transmitting this to us from across an ocean. So a little bit more delay there, but I'm sure we'll pause and see the streams and sync very soon.
Yep, anyone who's familiar with these Ori races, you will have seen probably this early section and most all other sections multiple times in this tournament. One of the things you'll see a lot of early runners do right off the bat is a color code, which has no functional impact on the run, but it's fun to look at and can actually make it easier to differentiate Ori from the background. Kirefel kind of got the opposite of that. He got a dark purple color and kind of blends in with the background. I'm guessing that we'll see him change that at the cutscene up here.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't do the color code, is because of getting colors like that. But I would just start mashing new color codes in while picking up sign, because you cannot see that very clearly at all, and it makes glades actually a lot harder.
Yeah,
so there he goes. He's white now, or looks kind of white. We'll see in the different lighting. So he escapes from the dark purples and manages to actually see Ori for the rest of this.
We're not doing Invisa Ori %. It comes into play not only in your general movement, but especially in the save anywhere before Black Group burrows, since your screen is obstructed by the ability menu. If you have a dark Ori color, it can sometimes be very difficult to tell where Ori is. But they have save colors now. Both of them have picked up Spirit Flame, the sort of first ability of the game, depending on your definition of an ability. It's going to give them access to a basic attack, and now they're just going to be making their way towards wall jump.
Yep, they're just both going to be damage boosting down here. They want to get to 1 health so that they can do a ghost door. Looks like Jiminy got a health drop. He takes an intentional jump into that slime's shot, and it drops another health. So he tried to set it up, and he's not going to. Oh, he dodged that health. He also dodged the experience, though. I'm gonna be interested to see how he adapts this experience route, because normally you want to take that 3, but I think he'll manage to level up on the way out of wall jump now.
Right. I find it kind of fascinating. One of my favorite things about this speedrun is that there's virtually no RNG whatsoever. There is a little bit, but barely any, and it's in this early game that you can actually get a little bit as you sort of mentioned, when you're trying to do Ghost Ore, ideally you get down to 1 health, and sometimes you just kind of can't if you get a bunch of health drops. And it's not too costly if that happens. It's not like it can kill your run usually, but I just kind of find it amusing that you do get that little bit of RNG early in the run.
It would be terrifying to me if Ori ever got optimized to the point where we had to rely on RNG drops for speed at some point in the run, but it basically, you're going to lose 1 second at most. Jimmini actually gets the level up on the way down. That's because he killed the wall, the spore wall that Kirefel is about to come for, and I think Kirefel is going to kill it too. I thought he was going to damage boost, but it looks like his experience was perhaps a tad on the low side, so he's opting to get rid of it. Also,
I think that's a smart adaptation. It doesn't really matter if you level up on the way up either, but I think people are more used to leveling up on the way down.
Yeah, it's kind of a holdover from vanilla. We used to actually need the level on the way down so that we could skip the cutscene that plays while you pick up wall jump. But now we have a much better cutscene to skip that's a lot longer, so we hold on to the point for later, because as lovely as that 25-second cutscene entering Blackroot is, we don't actually want to see that.
Mm-hmm. There's a very important difference between these two runners, which I don't think we've mentioned, and I'm pretty sure that I watched this correctly. EloJimmini does go for 3 health as opposed to 4. He did skip the 4th health cell, right?
Yes, so he has an 8-second lead from that, but it does mean, basically the entire game is a lot riskier. This early portion, you have to take a damage boost to get out of the elbow area fast, which he already did, so he's down to 2 health, which lets him get hit once more, but it makes Blackroot a little scary, and then most notably later in the game, he will only have 3 health in Misty Woods, which means all of the spikes will one-shot him, and that's, I think, the main reason that people opt for 4 health. But Jimmini says, why would I do something different in a PB attempt than a race? I'm just going to practice the one thing, and that's the way he thinks about it, so he's going for that. Now he's going to be going into the cutscene skip at Blackroot here. Looking at his experience, I couldn't quite see the number there, but something in the 30s is a solid experience count, and he gets that skip, and he's going to be on his way into Blackroot. Kirefel not far behind. He lost a little bit here and there against Jimmini on just kind of movement things. He lost 8 seconds on, picking up the health cell. This is kind of just what you'd expect, though, given the difference in their PBs, like a low 32 versus a 40. You're just going to have little bits of time slip away from you here and there.
Right. As you mentioned, even apart from the 8-second lead that EloJimmini gets automatically by skipping the health cell, it's always interesting to me just how much time you can save. Like, imagine that, for example, Hetfield didn't exist. You might look at, EloJimmini's PB, Hydra's PB, your PB, and just think, how can this run get any better? But it's like, even apart from tricks, you can just gain, a half second here and a second there, and that's a lot of what we're seeing. EloJimmini actually took a bit of damage on those spikes, but looks like he didn't die, and that's what matters. He may miss this cycle.
He's just barely okay. He managed to jump over those spikes really quickly. And one thing to note about that as well is EloJimmini has an excellent early game. Like, Hydra and EloJimmini actually have better wall jump and dash splits than Hetfield even. And EloJimmini has in the past gotten a 709 dash, which is absolutely bonkers. Het's best is 711. My best is 712. They've managed, both Hydra and EloJimmini have managed to cut a few extra seconds off that, which is nuts considering how simple, this split ends up being. But EloJimmini looking like he's on good pace here.
Right, that's the thing, is you can only run and jump. You might think, how can you save that additional time? I didn't actually know you could go faster than Slurpee Dash.
Yeah, but, it's pretty possible. Crazy.
Anyway, EloJimmini with no major mistakes so far. He is ahead of Kirefel, as we would expect. Kirefel is having a pretty clean run for himself too. I haven't really seen any major mistakes either. He's just a little bit behind, partially because of the 4 health versus 3 health, and then also just because of general movement. But I don't think there's really too much to be concerned about so far.
Yeah, it's been a nice run from him. Like, I don't think he dropped any cycles in BRB. I think the deficit is basically just like a couple little things here and there in wall jump and the 4th health cell. But of course, even if you're a player of EloJimmini's caliber, it is easy to just take a death in Misty, because all the spikes, as I said earlier, do one-shot you, and you will probably lose a lot more than 8 seconds there if you die. So
he just got a, what was that, a 714, maybe 713?
Yeah, and you could see his splits briefly turn red right before he got it, so he was behind pace with that.
That is an unbelievable time, especially in a race setting. I guess I'll just ask this now. Do we know whether these guys are watching the restream?
I know Jiminy is not. I don't think Kirefel is either, so they don't know necessarily where each other is. Jiminy will know he's ahead because he knows that Kirefel goes for 4 health, and there's no way you can get a dash time like he did with 4 health unless you're using some modified DLLs.
Literally cheating.
Yeah, Kirefel, I mean, probably is feeling good about this race right now too, because he hasn't made too many mistakes. He's having a little bit of trouble with the dash glide out of BRB, but he gets it there nicely. So, and he's checking his experience. And what the heck, he'll take a save before Frankie 1, why not?
It's always kind of interesting to me. I mean, in any race, it's always interesting to talk about the mentality of the runners. Like, for example, in my race with Red earlier, it was very close, so you might say someone could be more nervous. In this case, since their times are so far apart, even though they aren't watching the restreams, like you said, EloJimmini has to know that he's ahead, going for 3 health, and given the movement he has, and that could maybe make him feel more confident, or who knows, maybe he thinks I might as well go for the super tough strats, and maybe that could even mess him up. No such mess ups so far, and I don't want to curse anything, but it's I'm more interested in what do you think Kirefel is thinking going into this?
Honestly, just note for a sec there, EloJimmini missed the fast cycle in Grotto. I think he usually manages to get it, so a little bit odd, but I mean, it's a very hard trick, so not surprising to see him miss once in a while. But for Kirefel's mindset, I think in this kind of position, you've come to terms with the fact that you're probably going to lose the match, and you just want to put on a good show, basically. Like, just, getting to play and maybe get a PB, because his pace so far has definitely been good, and a PB is easily within reach for him, I think. So just showing his best effort, basically, and not necessarily expecting anything more than that is probably what I would be expecting him to think. He's going for the Grotto cycle here too. Oh man, that was very close. He jumped a little bit off on one of the wall jumps, but the movement up to there was perfect, so nearly manages to make up 8 seconds, but didn't quite happen.
Meanwhile, EloJimmini did make it to double jump and actually gained quite a bit of height on the wall on the blind movement. Most runners will opt to kind of get across the poison water and then just do the wall jumps and you can actually see Ori, but EloJimmini made it quite a bit further than that. He's coming up to Grotto skip first try. Very nice. And
That's pretty solid.
Yep, not a particularly challenging trick, but still, easy to mess up. You're not going to take a death from it, but you can certainly lose time. Although you could also die from it if you messed up in a particularly bad way, I suppose.
This is a very clean movement from EloJimmini coming up to this section. This section is deceptively difficult to do, and there's a lot of quick menuing here, and he hasn't, accidentally opened the options menu or started changing difficulty, which does happen a fair bit. Kirefel took a dunk in the... Whoa, I thought he took a dunk in the water, but he actually got hit by the Frankie. So his... Oh, boy! Oh,
whoa!
I think maybe he wanted to die there, because he was really low. This is... True. He might still be at 1 health, though. I think he might have gotten hit by that Frankie before the autosave from picking up double jump. We won't know unless he turns on his UI, but I think he's at 1 or 2 health. So that will be a little bit of concern. He's at 1. So what he'll want to do is take a health flower on the way up, because there's a 1 damage boost, which we just saw EloJimmini go past, which makes getting out of Grotto a lot easier.
Yep, EloJimmini, meanwhile, is just kind of flying by. I'm noticing that he's not doing ninja jumps, a trick that does save you time, but only if you do them very, very optimally, and it doesn't save you very much. And so it looks like he's opting to just sort of get through all his wall jumps cleanly and not try to go for anything too fancy on the wall jumps. Did miss 1 dash glide, which is what you see there. To do dash glides, you need to do a dash and jump on a certain part, and then do neutral.
Oh, God! He just got comboed by the spinning spikes. That hurts a lot. I was going to say that it's good to watch EloJimmini's screen here, because his movement in this part in and out of the teleporter is beautiful, but today it was not beautiful. Today it was marred by the spinning spikes of death. This time not getting ramped on that dash off the top of the tree. So now we can watch EloJimmini with his cool movement. Oh no. Okay, he's at 1 health.
He's still going for it.
Can he make this cycle? Yes, he can. But he's not going to get the fast thing in and out, because He's not going to save there either. He's too brave. Since he doesn't have the 4th health cell, he has to kill this slime here, and he knows it. So he's just going to plink away at that, and then proceed into Ginso.
Yeah, those little spinny purple spike balls are another deceptively difficult area where if you watch a bunch of Ori runs, you might kind of not give it a second thought. But like anywhere in this game, you can take deaths with just a little bit of spaghetti movement. You know, getting stuck in very, very small ways can be very, very costly, especially when you're not taking safety saves. Do we know, by the way, this is a bit premature maybe, but do we know if EloJimmini is going to be going for the 5th energy cell later on?
You know, I don't know. I don't think he does, but I don't know 100%, unfortunately. Kirefel now progressing towards Ginso. He actually had to stop and kill the slime earlier. Jiminy getting geamered. That hurts. He partially fixed his camera here, but he didn't quite finish fixing it. So he's going to have to save later, or he's going to be invisible. And now he's got this platform swinging. This jump gets so hard when the platform swings. Oh boy, Ginso is really... Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, maybe he'll fix the camera fully this time.
Ginso tree can be very, very punishing if you make mistakes in these first 2 rooms. Just another very deceptively difficult area.
Yeah, and this is kind of another thing. Like, if he had 4 health, the investment into that health cell is 8 seconds, and the death he took was just to a single point of damage from Gamer. And, I mean, maybe he would have gotten knocked into the spikes and died anyways, but this is why people opt for 4 health in races, because it's very easy for something like that to happen throughout the run, where that 8-second investment would save you a 20-second death. He still has enough of a lead that he's ahead of Kirefel, but Kirefel actually caught up a lot right there. It looks like there's only about a 30-second difference between them as they're coming into the second room again. So here, oh boy. What? Whoa! His hyperspeed save on the portal? I didn't even see him place that. That's sick.
No, me neither. His save point was camouflaged by the portals. That's amazing.
I was expecting him to load up at the start again soon. He's no, I'm flying through the second room.
That's awesome. Something that you might see. You would never see a safety save there out of top runners. You'd never see it. But because Kirefel put that save there, he was able to, salvage what would have been a pretty substantial time loss on the order of what EloJimmini lost, and he only lost a little bit instead.
Yeah, I actually want to point out. I don't know if it was Kirefel. It might have been. It was somebody, one of the newer runners in the tournament, who said, "Why don't we save after the first room of Ginso?" And I went and timed it and checked the energy, and it doesn't interfere with your safety save in the second room of Ginso. You're not using the energy for anything at that time. It's like, yeah, why don't we save there?
That's why it can be really, really, really nice to get in some newer runners sometimes. You speedrun a game long enough, you just sort of get set in your ways. And you kind of stop thinking about it. EloJimmini has recovered from some of his mistakes. Kirefel, again, doing very, very well despite that little death. Not too far behind EloJimmini, where if EloJimmini were to make some other mistakes, maybe miss key dupe or die later in Misty or something, and if Kirefel can keep up this pace, we might see something interesting in this race.
Yeah, the thing is, I think EloJimmini is going to open up more of the lead by the time we get to Suro Pass, and I think that's the next point where he could potentially lose a lot of time to a death. I'm not sure how much safety he's going to opt for. Nice save on that shot in the redirect, by the way. That was close. So good movement up there to get there before the shot finished, bouncing along. Now he's onto his key dupe. Kirefel, yeah, he's really doing quite well though. I like this pace out of him for sure.
Good job by EloJimmini. Very clean key duplication. I'm sure he rekindled the save even though I can't hear it. And now he's just going to continue on towards the second Ginso mini-boss. Meanwhile, Kirefel has also picked up Bash, so his movement, is about to get way more fun.
Yeah, Bash really is awesome. I don't think nearly as many people would run this game now as they did if Bash wasn't there in vanilla. Dash is awesome in the definitive edition and makes the movement really cool, but Bash on its own is just really sweet, and you can fly all over the place with it. That's the main advantage. Its aerial movement is way better than what Dash can offer right now. And Kirefel looks like he missed the shot in the redirect, but the second one should be able to go through, so he just has to wait 1 second. It's not such a big deal. EloJimmini on core skip. He's going to try to kill this frog. opting to do it the safe way. I think that's actually pretty smart, not doing the fast one where you kill the frog outside the room when you're kind of feeling maybe a little bit of Ginso spaghetti. Death from Kirefel there, that's not too costly, but that's just kind of the small death here and there. Another one that is going to widen the lead for EloJimmini. So even at this point, if EloJimmini takes one more major death, he's still going to have the lead. But I'm not saying that 2 major deaths isn't impossible.
Right. I wanted to point out one more thing. The other really interesting thing, Bash is a pretty unique skill in this game, and it kind of changes your relationship with enemies. Before, and in most games, you're always running away from enemies, you're trying to dodge them and stay far away. But in this game, and this is something that I think Bruce especially has been pretty good about pointing out in his commentary, but once you have Bash, you tend to try to fly towards enemies because you can use them to do more advanced movements. And that becomes especially true later in the run when we get Charge Dash. And I think that's just one piece that makes this speedrun so unique. EloJimmini has made it out of his Ginso escape, ran away from the water, and so he'll be able to head towards Stomp, and Kirefel is taking out the second mini-boss, and so he gets to do his version of the core skip.
I'm curious to see if EloJimmini is going to go for the hyperspeed through this door. It's kind of a new strat. You can reload the file here. Okay, he's not going to. It's like impossible to remember to do this, but you can reload the file during a dash save on that door, and it saves a second. It lets you just fly through, but it's minor, and everybody forgets it because it's very new. Kirefel is having some trouble with this frog. Okay. He got ganged up on by that Frankie. He came in from the side with a chair and just beat him up, but that frog was too low on health to make it up there. Much cleaner bashes this time, so this is looking good on the core skip.
Everyone always makes a safety save just before core skip for that exact reason. It's even though core skip is another trick that you don't usually see mistakes on, it's actually relatively straightforward. It's pretty easy to mess up, and without the safety save, you'd lose a significant amount of time.
Yeah, also to note, if you don't make that save, I'm pretty sure everybody who has ever run Ori has not made that save once and then reloaded on the autosave after the mini-boss and then been missing the mini-boss experience. Just been like, why didn't I save there? I have the energy. I can't use the energy on anything. So Jimmini now moving towards Kuro cutscene skip here. I think he's pretty good at this. Let me pull up the stats on this one.
Sure thing. While you're pulling up the stats, Kirefel is making his way through the escape as well. Still a pretty clean run from him. I don't know offhand whether he's on PB pace. Keep in mind that Kirefel's PB is not sub 40, which means that he has more time to save. He could make mistakes in his run and still pull off a PB, although we'd have to wait for word from the truck.
EloJimmini taking a faceplant into the frog. He's actually only 1 for 3 on Kuro cutscene skip in the tournament, and he gets it there, so he's improved his average. He's getting some value out of the safety save. Now we'll see if he goes for 5 energy or not. I feel like I should know, but there's so many runners. He's going to go for 5 energy. This either allows him to make some nice safety saves in Suro and Misty, or use it on speed, or maybe just a little bit of both. It's kind of funny. It's a safety strat that came up in the tournament, and then we later found out that it was actually faster, and you didn't use it for safety whatsoever.
As we've mentioned in other races, ordinarily when runners take 5 energy, it is for the kind of second usage of it, which is additional safety saves. For EloJimmini, though, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it used for additional charge dashes. Kirefel having a little bit of trouble getting up Stomp as well. There's a way to bash off the Warworm's projectile and make it up to that wooden platform early. Not too costly if he missed it. I'd say maybe only about 4 to 5 seconds he lost there.
Yeah, it's not too bad. EloJimmini doing dash glide over the spirit tree there. That's a cutscene, nice. Very long cutscene that tells you what you're supposed to do in the game, but we don't really care because we're going to ignore saving half the forest and just kind of go to a volcano and call it a day. Little bit of kind of odd movement, kind of having some trouble getting into Valley there, which is a bit uncharacteristic, but I think he's still progressing quite well. He's still widening his lead, but this section is a little bit spooky. He has his full 3 health, so the spikes in this area will kill him in one shot, and the enemies will not, but he can only take 2 hits from them. And he can't save for quite some time here if he wants to go optimally. I don't think he's going to save. It's kind of uncommon at his level to be placing a safety save in Valley. You just kind of die and go back to the spirit tree and cry a little bit inside if you take a death.
Exactly. The other thing is I can't really see EloJimmini feeling too nervous about this race, to be honest. Partially just because he knows how much faster his PB is from Kirefel. He knows that he can make a fair number of mistakes and still probably walk away with the victory. I think that shot looks good on his fast stompless, by the way.
That might be high, but I think it's good. If it does miss, then it was high. And it's good.
No problem.
Nice.
Good job by him. Anyway, to finish my thoughts, I wouldn't expect him to be nervous. Also because of how good he is at this game, he's just going to be very, very confident in his movement. So despite the mistakes we've seen from him so far, I guess I don't want to try to read his mind too much, but I don't see him sort of starting to overthink things. I think it's just mistakes do happen. This is a hard game to run, and I don't think there's really too much else to read into there.
Yeah, and I mean, just with good movement overall, he's opened up a good lead for himself. Kirefel missed the Kuro cutscene skip that time. Kirefel also going to opt for 5 energy here. We'll see how he opts to get out of here while Jiminy is moving on to Soro Bash. Okay, interesting. He's going to skip the cliff energy, which means that he's not going to safety save in Soro. So this is a tense kind of time for Jiminy here. We'll see what he opts to do. Now note that there is a new strat to get up Soro a little faster, which he's not going to do because he damaged that frog. Thank goodness, because that strat's terrible.
It is terrible. Spent like an hour on it last night. Also, EloJimmini got a very nice first try Soro Bash. It's something that, he's good enough at this game that you sort of brush over it, but I mean, it's still impressive, especially given that he skipped the energy. He hasn't made a safety save in quite a while, and this frog is in a bad position.
Okay, what's he going to do as a backup here? The frog fell. He can double bash this guy a fair bit, or he's going to go for double bashes. He got hit once. He is one shot from death. He has to be very careful here. He's dead. Okay. That is the kind of catastrophic death that we were talking about. He's gone all the way back to the start of Valley, but like we were saying before, there's still a large lead for him, but that catches up Kirefel a fair bit, and 1 or 2 more of those could be disastrous. And already he's down to 1 health because the bird hit him here, so he has to be very careful going through Soro this time. He could opt to take an energy and make a safety save if he wants. If he's feeling not so good about his Soro, there is an energy crystal he can go out of his way to get, and he will get it. So he's saying, okay, I tried my Soro, but I do not want to lose any more time.
Oh, and he's going for it.
What? Dash?
That was incredible.
Dash into charge dash? What?
I've never seen that before. I have a question for you.
Yeah?
Is that faster?
Is that faster?
That was actually really impressive. I've never seen that before.
I don't know if that's a setup or if you just man, because what? If you're okay, whatever. I can't even process that. Oh, okay. He got hit by this frog. Now he wants to rocket jump here, but the laser cycle is gonna mess up. He gets through. He didn't get lasered. Very nice.
So
at that
good
point,
job
I call it like 50-50. Kirefel here trying fast stompless. That shot
was low.
Yeah, it looked low to me, but I've been very wrong about fast stompless is working or not before. It was low. Okay.
Well, they didn't get sad cell-less or anything, so as far as mistakes on fast stompless go, this one isn't too bad. Well, I had another thought, and I'm going to be honest, I completely forgot it, so I'll just kind of jump over. EloJimmini has picked up the Sunstone, seeing some very nice charge dashes out of him. The thing about Sunstone is, after you pick it up, you head right down to Charge Jump, and Charge Jump refills all of your health and energy. So a lot of runners, including EloJimmini, you'll see use a lot of energy for charge dashes because you have energy to burn at that point.
Yeah, you have to try to use up all your energy in this section when you're going with a 5 energy route. You have to purposefully not stomp cancel stuff just to save the 3 frames you spend stomp canceling. Jiminy, nice movement coming out of Charge Jump, but he might have dropped an energy, but there is also an energy crystal there that you can magnet after. No, he has dropped an energy and he just checked it. I think this will be fine though, because there is quite some leeway in how you use energy in this section.
Right, so remember that at the start of this race, we very much expected EloJimmini to walk away with the victory, given the differences in their PBs, and it's looking like that's probably going to be the case. Despite EloJimmini's mistakes, he's still pretty substantially far ahead. of Kirefel, probably on the order of 2 minutes or more. EloJimmini starting his way through Misty Woods. Remember that all these spikes in Misty do 3 damage, and EloJimmini only has 3 health. So it's an 8-second time save at the beginning. Oh, that's the thought I was going to say. You might ask why a lot of the top runners, like you, for example, as a very much top runner of this game, you don't go for 3 health.
Yeah, not in races. I've done too many sequences of no reset runs where it's just been I've tried going 3 health in long run challenges and stuff like that, and it just over time does not add up to saving time. Like sometimes that 3 health is useless, you don't get hit, and then sometimes it would have saved you like 50 seconds. Kirefel having a little bit of trouble with Zero Bash here. This is showing how hard this trick is, but looks like he's got a nice setup that time. Didn't get ganged up on by the birds too badly, and he's now into Suro. Jimmini has picked up Climb, and I think at this point it's very difficult for Kirefel to catch up unless Jimmini gets infinited by Suro here pretty badly. But given how he behaved in Suro, where he went out of his way to get a safety energy, I believe that if he does die, he will place a safety save next time around, and he definitely has enough of a lead to die once or twice here without too much incident.
Right. Also interesting to point out, remember, these guys are not watching. That's unlucky.
He's so dead. He's so dead. Oh my gosh.
That was pretty unlucky, actually. He got sniped by the frog, and it knocked him off a platform. The platforms... Yeah, the platforms in Misty Woods, for anyone who hasn't played this casually, are based on jumping. So every time you jump off the ground, the flowers change. So because he was kind of stuck at a point where there was lasers on either side, he really couldn't do anything to fix that. Nice stomp cancels through there, though. It looks like he's not letting these deaths really get to him. He's still going for the big boy strats.
Yeah, one thing that can be said is if you are willing to go 3 health, you are very confident in Misty. He got just... His face fell into that bird there, so he's at 1 now. I love that. Only EloJimmini does that stomp cancel, as far as I know. Maybe Hydra started doing it too. Okay, he's going to place a save at the 4th keystone, so now he has full health again. Of course, full health still means he's going to get one shot by the spikes, but there's not too much risk of hitting a spike from here on out.
Nope. Kirefel has made it through most of...
Whoa, boy.
We're having some technical difficulties, but the fact remains that Kirefel did make it through most of Sorrow Pass. We're back.
Okay, I think we're just seeing Kirefel's stream now. I guess we had some... Probably beginning EloJimmini is up soon, but this is just Kirefel going through Sorrow. EloJimmini probably fighting the Misty mini-boss or something like that right now. And Kirefel now on his way to pick up charge jumps. So we'll just ask you to bear with us here while we get things sorted out. Looks like it is EloJimmini's internet might have cut out here. So hopefully that resolves soon.
I hope so. I guess we can make some educated guesses about where EloJimmini might be, but in the meantime, I guess you get double Kirefel action, so that's fun. If you wanted to see twice the Sorrow Pass, now you get to.
I've never seen a frame-tied race in Sorrow before. How about you?
No, I haven't. All right, we're back.
We're back.
Look at that. He's made it all the way down to the Lost Grove. What a guy.
Nice. So we'll get this sorted out. Our restreamer is the best. Richard will have everything fixed soon, including things he can't fix, like Elo's internet. He's a magic man.
Currently, Richard is not only restreaming, but also helping us out with stats in the truck, so huge shout out to him.
What a beast.
What a beast. EloJimmini has made it past the racist Narodad cutscene. If you don't know what that means, it's a cutscene and we skip it. He's made it to Light Grenade, a skill that you will not see used, but it is a skill, and so it's required for the category. And now he just has to make his way to Horu, and Kirefel has made his way into Misty Woods. Had a little bit of trouble with his rocket jump, but he recovered from it, and he's just sort of well on his merry way.
Yeah, I have to say I really like Kirefel's movement in Misty a lot. I think it goes beyond what you would expect out of, his PB. Like, I think his relatively low PB, that's not the best way to put it, but bear with me here for a moment, is more due to the fact that he hasn't had enough time to grind out runs than anything else, and his movement in Misty is really nice to watch. A lot of charge dashes. I think he throws some stomp cancels here and there, so It's really quite a treat to see him go through Misty.
I agree. He also decided to turn on his UI. For anyone who might not know, you keep your user interface off for most of the game because with your UI off, all dialogue is skipped instantly without having to button mash. But in areas like Misty, there isn't any dialogue to speak of, so you can just sort of have that open without having to lose any time to dialogue. And it can be nice to have a sanity check on what your health and energy is, even if you have a pretty good idea of it on your own.
Yeah, it's easy to miss a stomp cancel, and then not realize that you lost the energy. So you just keep the UI on because there's no time cost, and then you'll know for sure what your energy is at all the time. It's quite nice.
EloJimmini's coming up to the infamous door warp. Do you have a prediction for it?
Good luck on door warp, EloJimmini. I'm going to go with third try.
I'm going to go with second try.
All right, let's see. Have us wrong? Nope, he misses it first try. What is happening?
Huh. Maybe that was frustration.
He might be a little annoyed at door warp.
Second try.
What was that? Okay, we need to record exactly what voodoo dance he did there to get second try door warp after the first one. That was clear RNG manipulation.
Turns out that he's just sitting on door warp strats that he didn't tell anyone about.
I'll be watching the VOD for that one. Definitely.
Anyway, so
God! Kirefel was almost at the fourth key and he got air shot by the mortar worm right before I bet he was gonna save right over there. I've never seen somebody get crushed by that mortar worm quite like that before. That's brutal.
Kirefel's also going for stomp cancels and such. It's like you said, he's really going for some rather advanced strats, even though his time, even though he could save a lot of time without doing them.
Yeah, it's just nice to see Kirefel's Misty. It's clearly been practiced, and this time not getting destroyed by the mortar worm. That was mean last time. Rocket jump, but 4 health is great, so he lives. And EloJimmini is finished up, and now he will be just holding right till the end. So EloJimmini takes this one, kind of as expected. I imagine he's going to be feeling maybe not too happy with this time. He took some bad deaths here and there, but a win's a win. It's still a very, very good time coming in with a 35. That's quite excellent. That will win you most of your tournament games, that's for sure.
Certainly says something that despite all the mistakes, he was still able to pull away a 35 time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Kirefel, nice Misty mini boss there. He's had a pretty good. I mean, okay, that death to the mortar worm was rough, but I liked his Misty. Other than that, and he'll be on his way to grab light grenades soon. Right.
We will talk more about. We'll continue focusing on Kirefel until he's done, and then we'll talk a little bit about the other races we have coming up and what the outcome of this will be, since EloJimmini will be advancing who his potential next opponent will be. But right now, Kirefel's made it out of Misty Woods, heading towards Blackroot Burrow / Lost Grove for the second time to go pick up the last skill in the game. EloJimmini on the left is also doing some Naru jumping, probably just thinking that he's a little bit frustrated with himself. Although, as you mentioned, still a very, very solid time, and he pulls away with the win, and that's really what matters in these races.
Yeah, you can't feel bad about a 35-44. That's a good time. It's very, very hard to come close to your PB, like especially when your PB is Elo's at like 32-12. Like getting a 32 is not easy. Not easy for anybody. It doesn't matter. Oh boy, Kirefel, nice. He picks up the Yoka cycle there, even though he didn't see the laser on the way in, and that is confidence. Because you can't be 100% sure that your movement was clean enough to actually get it, unless you see the laser. But yeah, if there's quite a window for not seeing the laser and still making it, as long as you're fast. And he believed in himself, and he got the Yoka cycle, so that's great. And
he also he skipped his cutscene by bashing off the bird. That's not something I've seen.
That was actually pretty sweet. I wonder if that was improvised or not. I didn't see if he explicitly bashed the bird up there, or what the deal with that was. I'll have to take a look at this race again afterwards, because there's some cool things that came out here.
If it was improv, it was some very, 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 very nice improv. Looks like he's just baiting that Baneling out of the way. Does not want to take a death to it.
Yeah, despite 4 HP, those Banelings do 6, so it's a little bit of overkill. You don't want to mess with them too much. Now heading on out of Blackroot, We'll be going into the Boulder Escape. We'll see if we see this Boulder Escape has been fun a couple times in this tournament, but hopefully for Kirefel's sake, it's just a normal amount of entertainment, and it is normal there. We didn't have any shenanigans running away from the boulder longer than expected. We'll now be teleporting off to Swamp.
Yep. Not too much else to say. We'll see if he can beat EloJimmini's Door Warp. Elo got second try. Kirefel can get first try, then he can sort of have that for small bragging rights.
Yep, placing a safety save before entering Horu Fields here, that's a good choice. Deaths here, you know, in a PB you probably wouldn't bother saving. You'll be like, whatever, I won't die here. But in race, I can definitely support it. And honestly, in a PB, I can definitely support it too, because you kind of have to stretch to dump your energy here. And each energy you spend extra only saves you like half a second. So maybe it's good to opt on the side of saving there. And he gets just down to 0 energy as he gets to the door, so it's not like he even wasted any time at all with that save. And now Door Warp for Kirefel. So Grim, what's it going to be? How many Door Warps will Kirefel take?
First try, I believe.
All right, I'm gonna go with third again. I believed in the third before I was wrong, but third maybe this time.
Okay, well, I'm out. You still have hope.
All right, do it, Kirefel. Do it for me. No.
All right, so he's going on fourth try here, having some trouble with this frame perfect trick. Not unseen in this tournament. It is frame perfect at 60 FPS after all.
When we found Door Warp, we were thinking, man, this is amazing. It saves like 20 seconds at the end of the game, not having to fight the mini boss, not having to get this point for the save drop. Such cool tech. Like, let's save time on our runs. And then, after everybody had eventually gotten a PB with the first try Door Warp, and then they were losing time on the last split on every miss over and over, people were like, why did we find Door Warp? And Kirefel manages to get his Door Warp in there. He's probably cursing a little bit, but that was...
I want to say that was a 9th try, by the way.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was 8 or 9 for sure. I am really bad at counting Door Warp. My job was to count Door Warp on the match before this one, and I must count on both of them. So.
It was 10 is the answer.
Yeah, I put it in the stats sheet after you watched it back and told me. I was like, yeah, I did my job. Got him.
Congratulations. But he is through Door Warp, despite having some difficulty with it. I wonder if that's down to nerves or just down to the fact that it's a silly trick. Honestly, that's how I feel about lots of the tricks in this game, like the new strats that were just down in Sorrow, in Sorrow Pass. It's like, it's cool and they do save time, but could we just have not found those things? Anyway, Kirefel coming up to fish strats if he decides to do them. We'll see whether he wants to do them or just finish out the run. He's going for it. I love it. I love it.
This saves 2 seconds. Actually, it saves 0 time if you miss the double bash, which he did, but it gives you so much swag. Alright, I'm gonna give him points for attempting. Even though he missed the rocket jump. Oh boy, oh boy. Can he make it up? The curve trigger is coming,
yes,
and he does!
He's good. Alright, so he's out. Timer doesn't stop yet. He still has to hold right, but on his final inputs, that's when the timer will end. It's you probably know the exact time from the time you exit the escape.
Oh, well, it's something I didn't see.
it's
41 something.
He has some time, so he already will not be advancing in the tournament, but some very, very solid movements, especially in Mistu Woods. I liked a lot of his movement in there, and then that'll be the race for Kirefel.
Yeah, so that's kind of an expected result coming out of this race. I don't think either runner can be disappointed in how they played too much. I mean, EloJimmini would have wanted a better time. Kirefel would have loved to PB in this race, but he still put on a good show. He didn't get infinited anywhere. Door Warp sucked, but that's Door Warp. There's nothing you can do about that.
Let's rename it to Suck Warp.
Let's call it an out of bounds and get out of this category. We'll just invalidate the entire leaderboard and make everybody do a new PB.
be a fresh start, new beginning.
There you go. Anybody, the first person to finish a run will get world record. We're gonna clear the leaderboard at midnight tonight. Have fun, everybody.
Congrats on Kirefel for finishing that out with the final time of 41:54, whereas EloJimmini ended with a 35:44. So since this is single elimination in our round of 32, EloJimmini will be advancing. And who could he potentially face in that match?
The match that he's going up against hasn't been played yet, but it's going to be Stefu against Skyfu. And Stefu is very greatly favored to win that. Not quite so much as this one, EloJimmini being heavily favored against Kirefel, but I would be very, very surprised if Stefu managed to drop in the round of 32. So likely Stefu is his opponent for round of 16, and that will definitely be a match to watch because Stefu's time is excellent. I think it's a 33, mid 33 something right now, maybe even low 33. I'm not sure.
And this group is going to just, sorry to interrupt you, this group is just going to be fascinating in general. I mean, I'm looking at it, you're in it, we've got EloJimmini, we've got Stefu, we've got Monkley. I mean, this should be very interesting going forward. But for the time being, we actually also have another Ori race right after this one.
Oh yeah, that's going to be J Hobbs against Icex, and this race is going to be good. Hobbs, I probably shouldn't talk about it too much because that's going to steal all the thunder from the next two commentators. But I would pick Hobbs to win it, but I think it can definitely be up in the air. A lot of things can go wrong in Ori, and you can see very variable times that can easily make these guys' times overlap, and we could see a very close head-to-head coming up next.
Right, I'm certainly pretty excited for it. So we're just finishing up this one. We've got one more Ori match for you tonight, and then that'll be it for matches today. And I guess I'm stealing more of the follow-up commentators' thunder, but we're going to have a whole block of Ori matches on Saturday as well. And I guess I'll let our next two commentators talk more about that one. But otherwise,
we'll be getting them in here shortly. We're going to be handing it off to Trojan.
There they are.
Hello, everyone.
For this next match. Hey, guys.
Hello.
What's up?
How's it going?
Oh, good. So I'm going to get out of this channel. Sigma, it was fun commentating with you.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be looking forward to kicking back, relaxing, and seeing this next match. This one's going to be intense. So you guys take it away, Fan Trojan.